Hi, I'm Rhea from Active Health Clinic, and today I'm going to be talking to you about reactive hypoglycemia and why exercise isn't just exercise, especially for those with dysautonomia or POTS. So if you haven't watched our first video explaining reactive hypoglycemia and the associated diet strategies, I'd recommend watching that first, because today we're going to be building on those particular concepts. Today we're talking about where exercise and exercise physiology fits in, because despite what many people think, movement isn't just about fitness. When used appropriately, it can actually help regulate blood glucose. So, why movement helps is every time your muscles contract, they can take glucose out of the bloodstream using something called GLUT4. And with this, the process doesn't necessarily rely entirely on insulin like we may think. That means that movement can help your body use glucose more efficiently, reduce the need for large insulin responses, and support more stable blood sugars. Exercise can also improve insulin sensitivity, and those effects can last anywhere from like 12 to 48 hours after you finish moving, depending on your body and your body's experience. Um, but when we're talking about POTS and dysautonomia specifically, this is where it gets a bit more nuanced and where it's really important. Definitely not saying that someone with POTS or anyone really should go for a run straight after lunch. And for those with POTS, long COVID, or ME/CFS, that's definitely not the conversation that we're having. And exercise really needs to be considered to be individualized and making sure that it's safe for the individual. So if you experience post-exertional malaise, movement has to stay within your energy envelope and your baseline and your capacity, meaning that movement might be how you ambulate around the home rather than movement being going for a walk. So very much needs to be individualized, and sometimes that concept is really less is more when it comes to that. So, when we're talking this topic specifically, we really talk about the concept of movement snacks. So, instead of one big workout within the day, think tiny movement snacks throughout the day. That could be a couple calf raises while you're brushing your teeth, maybe a lap around the house, maybe some light resistance exercises or some isometric contractions, and just snippets of minutes of movement throughout the day, again, depending on your capacity. So these small bouts can act like metabolic regulators without overwhelming the nervous system. Now, something really important with this is timing. Timing is essential. Some people benefit from movement before meals, others benefit a little bit after eating, and some people absolutely need to rest straight away after a meal and then maybe move an hour or two later. And with this, the goal isn't necessarily exercise and fitness and burning calories or anything like that. It's looking at supporting glucose regulation whilst working within your baseline, and respecting your symptoms that may come with that. So, what's really important in having this particular conversation is the concept of pacing. This is one strategy that we often link with pretty much everything, but specifically around the context of meals that we're talking about today. So, as an example, in terms of pacing, we might talk about having a small meal, then having a rest, and then gentle movement. And that meals become natural pacing anchors throughout the day that help us with food, rest, and digest. Go about your day. So in this context, exercise alone definitely won't fix any hypoglycemia going on, and diet alone by itself won't either. The biggest improvements usually happen with nutrition, pacing, and movement all working together, and very much individualized and specialized to you and what's going on within your diagnostic profile, your symptom profile, your triggers, your mediators, and what really helps you. So we hope you find this video somewhat helpful, but definitely take away from this that it's not a one size fits all and really has to work within your capacity. Bye.